Welcome back to The Lost Tactician, where history's forgotten survival strategies meet the unforgiving reality of the ancient world. Today we're standing in the shadow of structures that have defied time itself. Imagine walking across a Roman bridge whose timber foundations were laid 2,000 years ago, yet remain solid beneath your feet. While our modern buildings crumble after decades, the Romans built for eternity. How? The answer lies not in their legendary concrete or marble columns, but in a lost technology so effective that, modern science is still struggling to replicate it. This is the story of Roman timber oil, the empire's secret weapon against decay, and perhaps the most underestimated engineering triumph of the ancient world. When you stand before the Pantheon, or walk along the remains of Trajan's bridge, you're witnessing something that shouldn't exist. These structures have endured earthquakes, floods, wars, and the relentless march of centuries. Historians love to credit Roman concrete, that miraculous self-healing mortar that grows stronger with seawater exposure. But here's what they often overlook. Concrete alone couldn't support the massive timber frameworks that held everything together during construction, nor could stone preserve the wooden elements embedded in foundations, scaffolding supports, and load-bearing beams. Beneath the marble facades and concrete cores, timber was everywhere in Roman construction, and somehow impossibly much of it survived. The question that haunted archaeologists for generations was simple. What did the Romans know that we've forgotten? Modern pressure-treated lumber, soaked in chemical preservatives, might last 50 years in harsh conditions. Roman timber exposed to moisture, soil contact, and Mediterranean humidity has been found intact after 20 centuries. This wasn't luck. This was deliberate, sophisticated chemical engineering that predated our understanding of molecular preservation by 2 millennia. The answer began emerging from dusty manuscripts and archaeological excavations. Pliny the Elder, that tireless documenter of Roman knowledge, left us critical clues. He wrote of timber daubed with cedar oil becoming immune to worms and decay. But cedar oil, or cedrium, was just the beginning. The Romans weren't using single-ingredient solutions. They were master chemists combining multiple botanical extracts into comprehensive preservation systems. At the heart of their technique was a merca, the bitter, watery residue left after pressing olives for oil. Marcus Cato, the agricultural authority of his era, prescribed a merca as a universal wood protector. Roman workers would, rub this pungent liquid into furniture, granary floors, and structural beams. The amurca penetrated deep into wood fibers, and its natural compounds created a hostile environment for the fungi and bacteria that cause rot. When mixed with quicklime, it became even more potent, forming a chemical barrier that sealed wood at the cellular level. But the Romans understood that, different environments demanded different solutions. For timber exposed to water, they turned to pitch and tar extracted from resinous trees. Shipbuilders would heat these substances until they became viscous, then brush them onto hulls and dock pilings. The result was a waterproof membrane that flexed with the wood rather than cracking like modern sealants. For interior structural elements, linseed oil derived from flax sealed grain patterns and provided antifungal protection that kept humidity from warping or weakening the timber. The genius of Roman timber treatment lay in its multi-layered approach. Before applying any oils or resins, builders often charred the exterior of their timber, a technique that, interestingly, modern engineers have only recently begun to appreciate. This controlled burning removed the soft cellulose that fungi feed on, creating a carbon-rich surface layer. When sealed with oil, this carbonized exterior became nearly impervious to biological attack. The charred layer acted as armor while the oils beneath continued penetrating deeper, ensuring protection throughout the wood's structure. The chemical transformation was honestly remarkable. Cedar oil contains natural terpenoids that disrupt insect nervous systems and inhibit fungal growth. Merca's phenolic compounds create an acidic environment where decay organisms just cannot thrive. Combined with the physical barrier of carbonization and the moisture-repelling properties of pitch, Roman timber became essentially immortal under the right conditions. Archaeological samples have revealed wood cells so thoroughly impregnated with these preservatives that they've essentially mummified, retaining structural integrity long after untreated wood would have crumbled to dust. Today, material scientists face a humbling reality. We cannot consistently reproduce what Roman craftsmen achieved as standard practice. Modern attempts to recreate their timber oil formulations, well, they encounter immediate obstacles. Many of the specific plant varieties the Romans cultivated for their resins no longer exist, or have changed through centuries of agricultural selection. The exact proportions and application sequences were passed down through apprenticeship, never fully documented in surviving texts. Yet the implications are staggering. In an era of climate crisis and resource scarcity, just imagine construction timber that lasts centuries without toxic chemical treatments. Research teams across Europe are analyzing microscopic residues on ancient Roman wood samples, using spectroscopy to identify molecular signatures of the original preservatives. Early results suggest that scaling production for modern needs is possible, but it requires rediscovering lost botanical knowledge and reviving ancient extraction techniques. The story of Roman timber oil transcends historical curiosity. It's a testament to human ingenuity working in harmony with natural materials, achieving sustainability that our industrial methods have sacrificed for convenience. The Romans built structures meant to outlast empires because they understood that true strength comes from respecting material properties and environmental realities. Their timber didn't just resist decay, it adapted to its surroundings, flexing with moisture changes, repelling biological threats, and maintaining structural integrity across centuries of stress. As we face the challenge of building a sustainable future, perhaps the most valuable resource we possess is the wisdom of those who built to last. The lost Tactician exists to uncover these forgotten strategies, to demonstrate that survival, resilience, and endurance are not modern inventions, but ancient arts we've allowed to fade. If you found this deep dive into Roman engineering as fascinating as we did, hit that like button and share this video with anyone interested in how history can solve today's challenges. Subscribe to The Lost Tactician for more explorations into the survival techniques, tactical innovations, and lost knowledge that shaped human civilization. Until next time, remember, the past has answers if we're willing to listen.